So how about a 1/32 Fairey Gannet AEW.3 kit in the near future? A lot has happened since I reviewed the 1/48 Icelandic Fine Art kit just a few months ago. As I mentioned in that video, I worked with Alan Wilson of Icelandic Fine Art to procure the masters and the rights to produce that 1/48 kit. But as Alan and I discussed the Gannet project, we both really were interested in bringing a 1/32 version to market. While we originally had planned on working with Resin to Detail backed out of the project, so instead we've been working together with Chuck Davenport to design and produce not only upgrades for the 1/48 Gannet kit, but also for a completely new 1/32 version. Welcome back to Flying S Models. I'm Chad, and I appreciate you joining me back here on the channel once again. For those not familiar with the Fairey Gannet, it's one of those airplanes that's ugly enough to be good looking, at least to me. Designed just after World War II, the Fairey Gannet was originally designed as a carrier-borne anti-submarine and strike aircraft. In the anti-submarine role, it had a crew of 3 seated in tandem with an internal weapons bay. It was later modified to serve in an airborne electronic warfare role, again with a crew of 3, but this time with 2 of the crew seated side by side aft of the cockpit just above the wing. The AEW.3 replaced the Douglas Sky Raider in 1959 and actually had a rather long career, with the last aircraft being retired in 1978. Let's take a quick look at the work that's been done so far on the kit masters, but before we do, I thought it would be good to recap the 1/48 kit that was reviewed previously. You can find a link to that video in the description below. Both the 1/48 and 1/32 kits are pretty much all resin. The castings are really nice, and the overall fit of the parts is very good considering the medium and the production methods. While the wheelbays are a little basic, Chuck and I have been working together to upgrade those with some new computer-designed and 3D printed parts. You'll get a closer look at those when I show the printed sets for the 1/32 Gannet. You can see the fine recessed panel lines and excellent surface details on the 1/48 kit. While Alan's original masters include the basic wheelbay and retracted flaps, we've been working to upgrade those areas. You can see the new wing that I've been working on. I've cleaned up the panel lines and cut away the aileron to make that area a little more scale-like. I'll add back the wing gussets later. I've also carved out the wheelbay and flap troughs to allow for the new and more detailed wheelbay insert and lowered flaps that are 3D designed and printed. Now here are the 1/48 and 1/32 kits side by side for comparison. We'll be looking at the work on the 1/32 kit and talk about what's left to complete before the kit will be made available for purchase. Alan's done an excellent job developing the basic master patterns for the 1/32 kit. I've been working to refine the details a bit and make the necessary modifications for the computer-designed parts. The overall surface detail is really nice with fine recessed panel lines. The exhaust, while good, will be further enhanced with 3D printed parts. You can see on the right fuselage half the work that I've done to enhance the surface finish. I've added some of the missing panel line details, replaced some of the basic humps and bumps, and added some of the raised rivet detail that's found on the real aircraft. This is obviously a large model, and it barely fits within my current video setup. Currently, the wings are designed just like Alan had done on the 1/48 kit, but we'll be working not only to make a drop flap version, but also to make a folded wing version in the future. The wing surface detail is nice, but I've been reworking it to refine some of those details and modify it for the new wheelbay and lowered flaps. You can see the new wing that's in work. The details are a little more crisp, and as I did with the 1/48 Gannet, I've separated the aileron to make it a little more scale-like. I'm reworking those flap troughs and have modified the wheelbay to accept the new wheelbay box that Chuck designed. Here's the new aileron that was cut away and reworked. You can see the improvements made by this basic modification. I've modified the wheelbay to accept the wheelbay box. Here's a look at the new 3D printed wheelbay. You can see all of the detail that Chuck has added. It includes a really strong lower landing gear strut that will accept a new landing gear that will be designed in the future. The gear base sits a little lower than the lower wing surface, and this is to allow a wheel bay cover that I'll be making in the near future that will provide the outline of the gear door and the circular wheel cutout. We've been working to design the flaps, and they need a little refinement. Those modifications are currently ongoing, but you can see the basic fit of the flap to the wing here. Alan designed the exhaust integrally with the fuse halves, but to save some wear and tear on the RTV molds and improve the exhaust a little, I'm cutting those away and reworking them. The new exhaust will be provided separately, and I'll add some positive locating lugs to the side of the fuselage halves. Chuck is currently working to design the cockpit, and you can see the basic cockpit floor and the bulkhead here. He's completed the seat, and it fits really nicely to the cockpit floor. I'll be working on adding some belt and buckle details later. Here are the new 3D printed main wheels. The hub detail and tread pattern are really nice, and there's an integral brake assembly on the back side. So there you go, the 1/32 Gannet that's currently in work as a collaborative effort between Alan, Chuck, and myself, along with the modifications to the 1/48 kit that originally was released by Alan under his Icelandic fine art label. Now that kit and the 1/32 kit will be released by Chuck and me under the Flying S Models label, as well as the Icelandic fine art label for the 1/32 kit. We are hoping that both the 1/48 and 1/32 kits will be available in the new year. We just need to complete all of the detailed parts for the 1/32 kit and scale those parts for the 1/48 kit. I really appreciate you tuning back into the Flying S Models channel for this quick look at the ongoing work on this Fairey Gannet project. As you can see, I'm expanding well beyond just your standard mainstream kit reviews and builds and pushing into production of my own kits along with Chuck and in collaboration with Alan over at Icelandic Fine Art. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow me over on Facebook at Facebook.com/Flying S Models so you can stay up to date on the Gannet projects. Leave me some feedback if you want to know more about the Gannet or any other project that we have in work. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time.